Alright, excellent. And with that, we are ready to get underway for this set. So yeah, I recognize a lot of the players there. I don't recognize a lot of the players on Rams, which is exciting. You know, I don't know what that'll bring, but it's sure to be something. I get to see a new team in action. Isn't that exciting? We all get to see that. That's going to be great. I want to see what comps they run. I want to see what picks they have. New teams are always super interesting. And if they run 2K pros with all main power up, then I'll lose faith. But until then, not a problem. Any new team is a cool team in my book. Just because I want to see what they can do. And the boys, I know that they're very proficient players individually, but how do they play as a team? What comps are they running with? How do they complement each other? These are all up in the air questions right now. Anything could happen. Also, something to notice is the boys have a roster of 8. Jeez. That is a lot of choice for them. I'd be interested to see if they have many substitutions. Like maybe they just have players that are very good at specific things. And only those things. We'll find out. Alright, we've got yellow and purple, I believe. Yeah, looks like it. Yellow and purple. And the boys are yellow. Oh no, wait, hang on. Yes, that's correct. Okay, great. Opening up, the boys are running, among other things, Kensadoolies, a splatterscope, and a blaster. Pretty interesting build for tower control, but it makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, we have Rams with a Flingser, a Tri-Slosher, a Scope, and a Octobrush. I love that comp. That's actually very beautiful. The Foil Flingser as well, very good for tower control. It makes a lot of sense. Early fights seem to be going the way of the boys, but we will see how we go. Admittedly, yes, I agree with chat. Having a very small roster means that you get to practice with your entire team every time you practice, which is a lot more favorable than having to know how to play with a lot of different players. The boys are using that armor to really just get that early push out here. But yeah, I mean, look at that. Rams, just excellent control over mid. Judd is just hanging out to the side there. Seems to be going for the jump out back to Plat. The boys are trying for sneak splats. They're not getting the splats they need at the moment, and we're a minute in. Yeah, they keep repositioning. They're not happy with where they're at right now. They have the specials. In fact, I think Salo might be going for a splashdown splat, if I had to guess. But look at that. The mid is pretty much all Rams now, so Ram have a good opportunity to push this tower. They know the charge is nearby, and they will have to distract it. Ooh, a burst bomb might do something, but unfortunately, the splashdown is a bit more devastating. Tri-Slosher is able to take that out successfully. Tri-Slosher, an excellent choice for this map as well. I'm a big fan of Ram's comp right now, but unfortunately, neither team is really able to make much headway. Both too nervous to continue. Paddy does go down there with a bit of an overextension, which means we are going to see some significant points on the board, potentially a first checkpoint cleared, if we can get Rams with that high power. Look at that! Rams are just winning street there. They have so much control, which means the Stingray does not come out fast enough. They've cleared the checkpoint. They could honestly afford to pull back now and they'd be okay. They haven't yet though. Nope, they are jumping out now. Okay, good. That's a very good play. Very well structured. Rams doing an excellent job early on. We are almost halfway through the time limit now. And it's been very back and forth, a very defensive game. Neither team willing to... Or neither team able to get over the line. Both teams are very focused on cutting out all the infiltrators in their midst, more than anything else. We see Shell trying to win that snipe off. Both running very similar weapons. Ooh, and that suction bomb rush is going to raise the ramp for them. Oh, just out of range. That was a perfect snipe there from Ram, but the range wasn't quite there. Fortunately, their team was able to help out. Paddy doing an excellent job with the defense there. Does manage to trade out. Chloe's gonna have a hard time getting too much ground here. The armor is ready to go, but they're not using it yet. I don't know why. I'm guessing because they're waiting for their team to get in a better position. Or maybe they're too focused on the battle at hand and they haven't noticed. It's one of the two for sure, because it definitely could have helped them there. Again, excellent trades going the way of Rams. They're doing a wonderful job here, working as a team. I like their strategy. It's nice. It's fluent. Anyone on their team is in a position to harass the tower, but they rotate their roles around based on what they need. It's very unique, and I like it a lot. Here we have the boys trying to put up a defense, and look at that, Patty, paired up with the blaster, is able to two-hit everyone there and take out the beacon for good measure. And Baller saves them from the flinger as well. The survivability of the boys is being raised here. But with only a minute left and 2 points on the board, they still have a bit of work to do. Here, they're hunting for splats, and I will be very surprised to see, like, you can see the splat count for these teams. The boys have a lot of splats. They haven't been able to apply that to objective pressure like they're doing now. Look at this, they're so forward focused. They're able to take out all of the defensive line of Ram. Hayden able to get the trade out, but isn't going to make it to the tower, which means the tower is going to clear the first checkpoint with 30 seconds left. It looks like they're going to be able to take the lead here. Ooh, it's a snipe off. Shell's not able to get that snipe. Judd gets it first and is able to take the lead on that. With only one member up on the boys, Patty should probably retreat right now, but is not able to get out of there fast enough. Okay, we have a fight on our hands. With 15 seconds left, Ram are going to be able to get some decent distance on the tower. Judd is doing a marvelous job of making sure that it is not much distance. The defensive line is set up for the boys. It is going to be very hard for Ram to move forward now, especially with Patty on the tower. That is game. Ooh. Okay, first game going to the boys. I mean, yeah, that was... Both teams had one strong push. They had their one strong effort, and it really worked out for the boys there. They were able to take out... The difference between the two teams there is both of them were able to get past the first checkpoint with a lot of combat flourish and prowess. But the boys were the only ones who were able to take out Snipe as well. And Snipe is critical when you have dueling charges on a map like that. So, well done to the boys for taking that very small opportunity to get those few extra points it takes to win. Well earned, and I think we're in for a good set of matches based on how that went. It was incredibly back and forth. We had Esperace Rams with a very strong opening, then the boys with a strong counter opening, and then Rams with the first actually good push. And then a lot of time passed, and then the boys with an actually good push, and then Rams just didn't have enough time to bring it back again. So that's where it ended. Now we're moving on to Rainmaker on Kelp Dome. This map is famous for its revision, because they had a choke, and they were like, actually, what if it was just bigger? And that applies to some modes, but I don't know if it applies to Rainmaker. My brain is telling me yes, but I could be very wrong, so we will find out. Alright, round two. I'm a big fan of the weapon comps that we're seeing from Rams here, so I want to see more of that. I don't know if we will, but I want to see it. Ooh, a Hydra! We haven't seen one of those today. I feel like that's a bit odd. Along with that, a Gal, a Forge Pro, and a Vanilla Try up against Patty on those Kensa Dackles, a Kensa Charger, a K-Pro, and a Foil Squeezer. Now, I like to see the Squeezer for Rainmaker. It's not a very typical option. That being said, Rams with a very early and strong lead, taking a lot of the enemy team there. They're just headed straight for choke. They're just going for it. Shell is not able to get the defense in time, unfortunately. I think they might have done better if they kept their gun out. But they are able to stay out for a bit of time. It's not a game-winning push, but it is a start. That is for certain. K-Scope is definitely a choice. Okay, here we go. The boys are spreading out with their defensive line. The Hydra is watching. Oh, an excellent bomb throw by Salo there. Perfectly lands at the Hydra's feet while it was charged up. It had nowhere to go. That was brilliantly done. No one on their team has picked up the Rainmaker, which means they're going for a reset. It's not a long distance, which I find an interesting decision. They have 4 specials ready, so maybe it's something to do with that. The first one's coming out now. They're clearly trying to get a wipe before they collect. It's been one out on either side. The jump out perfectly dodges that baller explosion. And now the advantage that we had for the boys is no longer as prevalent. Rams are just in a much better position now to defend. One goes down on either side, but as long as that Hydra is up, the boys are going to have a hard time advancing. Look at that. Hydra is able to pick up mid without even entering the battlefield. That's what you like to see. Okay, we have armor going out. Rams are clearly trying something. Maybe Chloe just wanted a solid fight. It's hard to say. They have to back off from the Booyah Bomb and Bomb combo. Not too surprising. They're going to take on the K-Pro. K-Pro has the better damage and range output. But if the Tri can catch it off guard, it does fire faster. There we go. That is a tough fight to win. Chloe doing an excellent job just keeping the other team at bay. I think Chloe is going to be our street defender for a lot of this match. While we have Samson is going to be our overlord over this map. Very powerful thing to contend with, that's for sure. Alright, Salo's busting out the bubbles. It will help with the Rainmaker pop and maybe some defense as well. They all go down, but no members go down on the other team. Rams having to resort to a trade. 2 going down. The Rainmaker is reset. No one wants to touch this thing. Both of these teams want to get the splats before they push the objective. And while that is a nice, safe strategy, when it gets to point margins that are this thin, it's almost worth taking a gamble, taking a risk. We have a baller on top. Shell jumps out, does not want to deal with that nonsense. Is going to be heading back to spawn there. Okay, this is it. We now have the boys going for their push, but the Hydra was in position. That's the thing, right? So the boys need to take chances, but they also need to make sure the Hydra is not in a position to stop them. Because the Hydra can pop up from anywhere and just shut down a push like that. And that is what we saw just there. Rams are now pushing, and they, oh, they didn't even make it. Shell's pushing into base with a baller to act as a distraction while the Rainmaker is in a good position for them. But I don't think it's worked out too well for them. They've run the run back there. Oh, and the Booyah Bomb at the feet is going to cut through that armor like butter. Okay. Moving in now to a minute and a half left. It looks like, correct me if I'm wrong here, it looks like the boys are trying to get this off of the runway. It's in a very interesting position, a very good defensive position for... Oh my goodness, I'm blanking on everything right now. Rams are in a very good position to defend that. It is up high. The Hydra has an easy job in taking care of that. So they shouldn't have too hard a time keeping that together. In fact, Shell's going to go for it. They are sniped. If they were able to pick that up, they probably would have been able to improve their score by a few points, but nothing substantial. And because of the reset now, it is in an even position with 40 seconds left. We have the baller coming out from Judd. Judd is in a position to take out several members, but the distraction isn't enough and the boys are not able to get over the ramp in time. It's still in a good position for the boys to carry it, but the point sensor there is going to alert them to anyone trying the shenanigans. They are trying it, but Shell is ready. Shell was so prepped for that. And the Rainmaker explosion, the bomb on the Rainmaker shield, will silence the boys' push here. This is going to drop through the grate. They will get overtime because of that splat, but they won't get a lot of it. If I had to guess, 10 seconds of overtime at most to pick up this Rainmaker. As soon as they pick it up, they are on a live wire. They are going to pick it up before overtime just to be safe. Patty is going to be taking the helm. And that Hydra is in the perfect place to shut this push down. The Hydra's taken down though. The boys have taken down the Hydra. They're pushing forward. They only need to make it to choke to win the game. And they're almost there. They almost made it, but they didn't quite make the distance. Choke is notoriously hard to break through. And that was a very hard push to make. Unfortunately, the boys just not enough time to make that happen. Well done to Esperace Rams. They are taking their first game in the set, and we have a game on our hands. That's what I like to see. Alright. From that, we move on to Clam Blitz on Piranha Pit. Now, Clam Blitz on Piranha Pit, that's a mess. The baskets are actually pretty close together and pretty close to spawn. So generally teams need to be a bit more cautious playing this map. Interestingly enough though, based on what I've seen from these teams so far, caution is kind of their speciality, especially when there's a single point objective. What I want to see here is teams breaking off from that caution and making some expert level plays. I think they're capable of doing it. Both teams are very clearly hunting for splats here. The question is going to be whether they can hunt for splats in a way that doesn't expose a weakness in their defensive line. It's definitely possible, but we will have to wait and see for the results of that. Alright. Oh man, this map. I always forget that clams don't actually appear on the lower platforms. I think it'd be actually a really cool mechanic if they did, because then you could keep the basket open by swimming down to the bottom, but I don't think they do. Could be wrong, but I don't think they do. Alright. Ooh, okay, Rams is opting for a heavy deco right now, as well as a crack-on splat roller, which is a very niche build. I'm gonna guess it's a mode specific, we'll see, especially because these players have played a lot together, whereas we have Clapples, Heavy Remix, Foil Squeezer, which has been seeing a lot of use today. I didn't know the Foil Squeezer was actually this popular, but it's been good to see. Alright, Rams with a very strong defense to begin with. They're just sticking together because they did lose a few members very early on. And now that they're in a better position, they're going to try and move forward solo. Let's see how it goes. Salo just helping hunt down there. Yeah, again, 2 members down on Rams. We haven't seen the boys do anything with this yet, but they are still collecting clams, so time will tell. They do have 20 clams now. Okay, this is doable. They have 2 power clams. That's all they have. They've already lost 1. Clapple's not able to get in time, and the throw is going to make that a lost cause. With all that work that the boys put into the first minute, it is lost and wasted. We now have Ram on the offensive. Look at that sploosh go. That is terrifying, my goodness. I kind of want to see if that sploosh has Ninja Squid, because it looks like they did. They did, absolutely. I was like, man, how did they escape that? That is exactly what happened. Okay, the boys putting down a solid defense. I mean, at the moment, the boys are winning more fights, but they're not picking their moment for offensive correctly. Or at least, if they are, the Rams are catching them by surprise. Again, it's hard to tell without having complete map knowledge right now, but it seems that they are having a rough time here. Okay. Again, like, that's what I was saying as well before about these teams. They like to play it safe, right? They don't like to move in unless they're absolutely sure they can get something going. That's why we see the boys are not pushing in without 20 clams. They're just avoiding it at all costs. Judd does have 8, which means they could potentially go for it if they wanted to. Oh, they are. They're passing them around. They're trying to get them to Judd, but they keep going off the end of the conveyor belt. That's unfortunate. There are 4 specials available for the boys. They just don't have the clams to do anything with it. The first special's going out. It's the Ultra Stamp. It's taken out. Quick as it came, it went. Splashdown comes in. Bubbles come in. They are throwing out all the stops, and they have the power clam together. Judd is able to get the pick there. They are able to get the throw. No, they missed the throw. The heavy deco is able to shut them down. I definitely feel like they had the opportunity to get the throw there, but they were finishing the fire on their barrel. They probably would have been better to enter squid form for a second just to avoid that. Oh, and now we have Rams getting the first score on the board. 2 minutes in. 2 minutes left, rather. The splashdown cancel is going to stop any other clans from getting in here. Shell really trying to get past Judd there, but not having the turf pressure to get the distance done and not having the dodge rolls to ignore it. It's just a dunk right now. Honestly, the boys are in a better position than Rams are because a dunk is something you can do for free after your opponent scores. Any extra clams are what really matter. The problem here is the boys, while they've been good at coordinating their specials haven't been finding marks and landing hits. Like, they set up the grand show and then no one shows up. It's a bit disheartening, honestly. With only 2 members left, they do have special, but they don't have the means to make this push anymore. They're going to have to back off. Shell is doing a marvelous job applying that pressure as well. Judd is trying to get in there a bit more, which means that their team don't have as much room to move. And we're seeing here, like, Clo, very easily able to get around here. With that last clam, forms the power clam at the basket. The enemy team is wiped, and they don't have many clams to get in here, but they have some. And that's better than nothing. Okay, they are going to get some decent score on the board here now. Rams are in a perfect position to defend here. This is actually a basket that's probably easier to defend when you are the offensive team, because it's so low and there's a giant wall blocking most of where the enemy will stand. This is such a strong push. They have another power... No, that's a baller. That's not a power clam. But they did get another power clam in. That was a huge push. So many points, and they have more clams on the way. Close getting in there. They're getting the clams in, but they are taken out. While that is a shame, I mean, like, that's a very tough score to beat. Again, overtime does wonders, but the boys haven't shown that they're able to keep objectives open like this. I'm very nervous for the boys right now. I hope they can pull this out. They have the clams they need. They just need to get the picks. Right now, only one of them is marked as well, which is good. But Yums is taken out by the roller. They have 3 specials ready to go. They should be using them immediately. Overtime will not last for very long. They need to get to that basket. Why are they worrying with fights right now? They need to drop a bomb and run. They can't afford to not get to the basket. And unfortunately, every single power clam on the boys is taken out. That is a win for Rams. I mean... the boys definitely had the tools there. There were several points on that map where they were like, they had everything going for them. They had all the specials in one place. They had all the clams in one place. But I think Rams were just playing very evasively and were very hard to take out because of that. Like, no major splats on either team, but we just had a lot of shifting and moving coming out from Rams. I think there quite a lot of Ninja Squid was being run by their team. Just very hard to nail down, and because of that, Esperace Rams are going to take Game 3 as we move on to Splat Zones on Arowana Mall. Splat Zones on Arowana Mall. Oh my goodness, how do you split the teams on that? I mean, based on what I've seen, I know the boys like to play the big hitters, so I wouldn't be surprised to see... Rams running a comp that better suits the stage. It seems like Rams are more willing to play around with their moveset because they have less players. They've had time to practice with more things because they know each other and how each other plays very well. They're very comfortable as a team. The boys each have their own signature weapon by the looks of things, and they seem to work pretty well in solo, but when it comes to team fighting, they can use their specials all at the same time, but they're not covering their flanks. They're not protecting themselves in the way they need to be. The boys are very proficient players. They're very good players individually, but I think their team needs to have more whole awareness, if that makes sense, like positional awareness. Where their allies are, where their safe spots are, where their blind spots are. Because I think that's what the Rams are using to their advantage, is those blind spots. That being said, boys can very easily take this back. They're very strong players individually, and I would not be surprised to see them come around on this. Good luck to them as we move into Splat Zones on Arowana, a map which is famously very hard to play correctly. Curling bombs are plenty. Curling Rush actually is pretty good for this, but I don't think... I forget, are there like 2 weapons that have Curling Rush? There aren't many. Sorella Tent could be pretty good for this map, actually, but I don't think we'll see it from these teams. I haven't seen anything to suggest it. Yeah, the RNG just makes it like, oh, you want to get into a fight? Roll D20. On a 15 or higher, you'll hit. None of them would play Tenta. No, I didn't expect that. Okay, cool. We do, however, have some Dapples, a Jet, which is nice to see, and it's this Vanilla Jet. Slosher, Tri-Slosh Nuovo. The Junior is actually a really good pick for this one. The Kensa Junior, that's a very nice pick. Kensa Scope, also an interesting choice. But we haven't seen the boys flex too much on weapons today, whereas we have seen plenty of flexation coming out from Rams. And it seems to be working in their favor so far today. Okay, early control goes to Rams. 1 player down on each team. This Charger is able to control the zone, but is not able to get any picks from where they are. Unfortunately for them, no one on the other team needs to move into the zone because of the kit they have, which means the other team is forced to push forward. Look at that. The boys are forced into the zone because Rams don't need to be in the zone, and because of that, Rams can just set up a defensive line. They've already gotten halfway through. Okay, the splashdown is going to buy them some time here. Anakin is in a good position. Yes, this is what they needed. The boys need to get these flanking plays in so they can reduce the ink pressure being put out by Rams. But at the moment, it's not working out. All 4 members are up for Rams. Those beacons working a treat. Whereas we have nothing from the boys. I'm not seeing a single snipe going off. With only 5 seconds and bubbles over the zone, it looks like a done deal. The roller goes in time, and that's not enough. That is a knockout. Instant knockout. The Rams take it. My goodness. I will say the boys very nearly had neutral there. They were rushing into the zone, but it was just too little too late. The boys were not able to stand up. I think the main thing there was, like, while there were good splats back and forth, had the kit to perfectly cover the zone without being in it, right? They had the Tri-Slosh, they had the Jet. They were able to absolutely cover the zone while not placing themselves in range of the Charger. And when they did eventually come in with the Roller and the Baller, they pivoted, they were able to deal with it, and they took it out. So with that, Rams take this set 3-1. A very, like, close set of games to begin with, but at the end, Rams just seemed to adapt better, and the boys were not able to keep it going. Feel bad because the boys, you know, they fought so hard individually, but it seems like they, well, they just need more experience and more time playing together, I would say. And I'm sure they'll be able to get it during the next season, so good luck to them.